And today we're using the Academy Soccer Coach tool to talk about receiving to shoot in a private session. When you have a private session, you may have one player, you may have 3 players, 4 players, 2 players. It's going to vary. So I've talked about a couple different ways that you can work around that within a shooting session. We're going to start over here in the corner. I like to start the receiving session, although it's a shooting focused session, with just the idea of passing and changing direction of the ball to play to a target. So if we only had one player, it'd be great if we had a rebounder here, something like that. I've used little small pug goals, but then they kind of get filled with the balls. So what I did was I will bring a gate, a hoop, whatever it is, and create a target for them, where we're going to do this a couple times. We have plenty of balls over here, and they're going to be passing the balls to where the next session will go. So it's kind of flowing naturally like that. So we want to work on here is just the idea of checking in and checking out, receiving on your back foot, and turning to the right space to pass or shoot. So we have a pass here from the coach. If we're a single player, it's going to be if we have 2 players, the other player can be passing them. We can even keep it in a triangle here if we need to. Their pass, we want them to check in initially, check out to space, receive on their back foot, and then change direction and then pass through the gate or to their partner, and we'll keep it in a triangle. Again, if you have one, you can jump in. If you have 3, even better, we can turn it into just a little triangle passing session here where they're going to receive here and keep going in that triangle. And just the idea of checking in, check out to receive, and pass. And just getting that in their heads and really pounding that in there that you're going to receive on your back foot and you're going to open up your hips and change to a direction to set up the shot. Now you're going to take 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 touches to try to turn the ball to where you want it to be prepared to pass or shoot. So now we've got either our players picking up the balls or they pass it into the section. And now we'll move to a little bit of directional passing drill here to shoot. I have a box here with the one player in. We have a passer here. If you only have one player working at this, you can be the player here as the coach. You can have them facing this direction. They check their shoulder, they turn, and then receive. So you're still getting the concept of checking your shoulder, seeing where they should be going, and where the next step is, that visual cue. But with here, we'll pretend we have 2 players. What they'll do here, this player in the box will check their shoulder. The coach will stand by the goal and will hold up a cone. The cone signifies where they want the shot to go. So in the blue, we want it in this corner. You can set it up. You can change the difficulty of this. You can have tiny goals. You can have targets in the goal. You can set it up where it's just you want to shoot to that side of the goal. We can just go sides or middle. It's kind of up to you and the level and ability of that player. So the coach holds up the cone. The player checks their shoulder. They start back here. They check into the ball. They open up their body to whichever side they want to receive. They call for the ball, and it's played. They take a touch, and then they are going to take a shot towards goal. And we'll repeat that as many times as necessary, and these guys can flip roles. The next is we're going to start with the ball with this player. They are going to pass to the player in the box. The player in the box is then going to pass back, check their shoulder for the cue, and then they're going to receive a through ball. So if it's blue, the player would then use their hands to direct, I want the ball to this side. They'll open up their hips, and they'll play. The player that is passing will play a through ball, and we'll get a shot off to blue from there. So now we're adding a little bit of different passing techniques. We're adding a little bit of more motion into it. We're adding that now you're not just standing there and taking a cue. You're taking a cue while the game is going on. So we can get plenty of shots off from there. We can then move on to a little bit more difficult passes and shots where we can put this player into this box. We can have the player that's passing over here. We can initially start with the ball is played into the box in the air from across. This player, while the ball is in the air, the coach puts up the cone. This player then needs to check for the direction they're going to need to go to, take that ball out of the air in the direction that is directed by the coach, start moving in that direction, and take a shot in that direction. So a number of variables of you're not just taking the ball out of the air and then going to goal. You have to decide what, based on the visual cue, what is the best way to take the ball out of the air, what is the best directional touch for that situation, et cetera, et cetera. So the next thing we can go from there. So we've got a regular turn and shoot. We've got a through ball. We've got a cross to receive. And now we're going to start talking about changing variables. So this player here will start their run. As they start their run around this cone, they'll peek and the coach will put up a cone. They'll continue their run around this cone. When they reach this cone, the coach can either keep that same cone up, and they make that decision, and the ball is played from this player over here as a diagonal ball back, setting up for a shot, or they can change the color of the cone, reflecting the changing variables. So this player is setting up, rounding this cone as if they're going to shoot on blue. Now, they come around the corner, they see that it's yellow, they have to make an in-game adjustment to their body shape to receive this ball to pass it into or shoot into the middle. So there, again, you're upping the difficulty from, hey, here's what you need to do. Technically, you need to go to blue, so receive, pass, and shoot. Now you're putting a little more, when you play the ball back, the through ball, you're putting a little bit more movement. Their head's moving. They're still having to check directions. Then you're playing a little more difficult ball when you play the crosses in. Now you're recreating a lot of game-like situations where the play is changing constantly, and you have to make the adjustments based on that. You might be thinking it's one thing. The ball bounces, defender moves, your winger takes an extra touch. Now you have to make that adjustment and still complete the action. So again, this is Matt Carroll with World Class Coaching using the Academy Soccer Coach tool, and we talked about receiving to shoot in a private session.